Hey, welcome to Square Body Stuff. I'm Chad, and we have Squeaky in the shop today. Alright, the last video I put out of Squeaky here, we put a different rear end in him. It's a 14 bolt, 3/4 ton out of a 2000 something model Chevy pickup. I'm not really sure the year date of it. And of course, before we get into the video, I want to ask you to hit that subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that notification bell so you get notifications when I put new videos out. Also, go check out my Teespring store. That is where you'll find my merchandise. That is down in the description box below. I've got shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, some leggings if you're into that. This is my old, this is my grubby old shop hoodie that I wear. I've also got some stickers there. Lots of different square body designs. I think you'll find something you'll like, so go check that out. Another thing I'd like to bring up is go check out the live interview I did with John Wilburn. Actually, it was last night. This video is coming out a day later, but anyways, go to John Wilburn's YouTube channel. I'll put the link down in the description box below. Also, to go check out John Wilburn's channel, and he done a live interview with me. It's my first live interview. Now, warn you, my camera, I'm just using my phone, so my camera was really blurry, so you can't see my beautiful face like you can here, but it was pretty good. It went well, so go check that out if you want to. And in that live chat, we kind of go over what I've got going on for No Name Nationals. If you don't know what No Name Nationals is, it's an event that John Wilburn and Dallas Brown are putting on for YouTubers. Now there are tickets available for spectators, so go check out the website. I have that down in the description box below. I have a lot down that description box, so go check my description box. I have a hard time saying that word, but go check out my description box. There's a lot of information down there, some links to click on. Go check that stuff out. But No Name Nationals, you'll see the hashtag. If you're not familiar with it, just go to YouTube or even Facebook and put in the hashtag No Name Nationals, all one word, or split the words up, however you want to do it, and you'll come up with some information on what's going on there. But as far as the vehicles and the people that's going to be there showing their vehicles and drag racing, there's going to be drag racing, car show, all sorts of shenanigans. They're going to have a monkey bike race. It's going to be a pretty cool thing. So get your spectator tickets. Now, I'm really looking forward to it because it is actually only 3 hours or so away from me. It is in Sikeston, Missouri, at Jeffers Motorsports Park. I believe I've said that right. But you can look it up. It's going to be a great event. It's going to be an 1/8 mile track as far as drag racing goes, and that's what I'm setting old Squeaky up for. So I think I've covered all my bases there and what I want to announce. So let's get to what we're doing with old Squeaky here. All right, my last video, my oldest son Clayton come over and helped me set up this rear end in the back of Squeaky. It's a 3/4 ton axle out of a 2000 something, early 2000s Chevy pickup. I don't have anything just set in stone yet. Don't have the purchase welded or anything. Just got the U-bolts tightened down because I'm still not 100% sure if I'm going to leave the axle under the springs or go over the springs. Now, in my last video, I had some comments from some viewers saying that, because I was worried that I wouldn't have enough room putting this axle over the springs, that I thought I might have to C-notch it. But I had a couple comments, and because I didn't measure anything yet, I didn't put a tape measure to it, so I was just kind of guessing. But I had a couple comments from some viewers that said they have no issues with the spring over. They just had to cut the bump stop out, and they had no problems with it. But as you can see over here, I've got a 33 1250. Now, I'll get this thing out in a little bit. We'll kind of go over really what I got going on. But what I'd really like to just leave the axle under the springs to give me options to run bigger tires, or just do some goofy stuff with this truck and not be limited with having it setting too low. So for right now, I've actually spent most of this morning kind of mocking things up, measuring things out, figuring out, you know, a good direction. So I didn't drag this video out too much. I've already drug it out enough with some of the commentary before about the announcements. But I've got my drag set up on this side, which if you please imagine these wheels white and matching these with the blue and red stripe. That's where it's going to end up. And then the other side, I have a matching set of Hurricane wheels, which the back ones are obviously going to be 8 lug. The front ones are 5 lug. But I'm going to get him pushed out into the daylight. I'm going to set the bed on him and kind of get some measurements with the bed, setting him on him. And that'll kind of give me more of an idea of what I really want to maybe do to him. Because if I have enough room with the fenders and everything, because these tires do stick out a lot. Now in my last video when I was kind of just setting it up there, these wheels looked like they were sticking out, like way out, because they're 12-inch wheels and they only have like a 2.5 inch back spacing, and I had to put a little bit of a spacer between them. And well, let me show you here real quick. I've got these spacers here, just some shims for 8 lugs. I had to put a 1/4 inch shim in behind the wheel to get them spaced out enough so they didn't hit the caliper. But now we've got everything fairly centered. As you can see, it's not sticking out near as much as what I believed it would in the last video. But it still kind of gives it a little bit of a gasser kind of look, or an old 70s street freak look, and I dig that kind of stuff. So we'll get him pushed out. And I have to push him out because right now he's got a Bluetooth drive shaft. I haven't figured out the drive shaft situation yet. I do plan on, I'm going to set the rear end up, get it where I want it, whether it's under the springs or over the springs. And then I'm going to measure for a drive shaft and get that part of it going. I've got some pieces and parts. I may have to change this yoke because it's got the big 41, or I can't remember the numbers of them, but the big U-joint. But I have some older 14 bolts that got the smaller U-joint or smaller yoke. So I got to figure out my drive shaft situation. But for right now, I'm just going to have to push him in and out of the shop. So I'm going to get him pushed out. I'm going to grab the tractor. We're going to set the bed on him and just kind of see what he looks like with the bed on. Well, that wasn't real pretty. I actually kind of set the bed down too close, or set it down too soon, and kind of curled up this fender, but it was already bent anyways, and I got it pulled back out, so it don't look any different than what it did before. But I've got an issue, like in the last video I showed you, with this roll pan that this thing has on it. It curls up. Let me see if I can. It curls up underneath those spring perches, so I've got to set it down on there and kind of slide it forward underneath them spring perches. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but I got it set on there. It's pretty close, within a 1/4 inch here or there to where it's going to be. So this side, if you can imagine front fenders and everything being on them, and we got the shop kitty, he's wanting to be in the scene. But this side will be the street version with the Hurricanes, 33 1250s. And we'll go to the other side for the drag race setup. I think it's going to look pretty slick. It's going to look a little bit jacked up in the back because the slicks are a little bit smaller. We'll get another view from behind. They don't stick out near as bad as what I thought they were going to when we first mocked it up. I thought they were going to stick like way out, but not actually too bad right now. And the so-called street tires, they're going to be just about right. That's kind of where, that's about the same setup as what old Cream Puff over there has got. He's got 33 1250s, but got lighter duty springs, so he doesn't set up quite as high in the back end. So the main reason why I want to go ahead and set the bed on there and kind of get some measurements and look it over is to see if I had enough room to put this axle on top of the springs. Because if I put the axle on top of the springs, it's actually better geometry for drag racing and trying to gain traction. But I didn't want to limit myself to running smaller tires, because I did have in my mind these tires right here to run on this thing if I run him on the street, which I do plan on trying to keep him street legal-ish, at least street legal in Mexico. But what I've figured is if I put the axle on top of the springs, it's about 4 1/4 inches. So right now I've got 5 inches to the opening of the fender with these tires. It'll get it real close. I'll have 3/4 of an inch difference there, and not a whole lot of, I mean, I could trim that lip or something on the inside or roll the lip to where it tucks in there. But I really think for right now, just for simplicity, to get to the next step of this project, because I can always flip this axle later on down the road if I want to. And so for right now, I'm going to leave the axle under the springs. Go ahead and tack everything up, get everything, make sure everything's centered, double check everything, and leave the axle underneath the springs for right now and go with that idea. I think it's going to look pretty slick that way. I'm pretty proud of the fact that I've got Hurricanes on the back, Hurricanes on the front, matching set of wheels, even though they're 8-hole and 5-hole. But it's going to match up. Kind of a dream I've had with this truck for quite a while. I just haven't made it happen yet, but it's happening right now, folks. And on this side, like I said earlier, just imagine these drag wheels with the slicks being white. And eventually I can run a taller tire if I need to. That's the other reason why I want to leave me some room, is if I wanted to run a bigger tire on the back, just to kind of adjust my gear ratio instead of changing out gears. Because right now it's got 488s. This rear end's 488s. Now if that may be too low, or I'm not really sure how it's going to work out. I just got to get him back together and take him down the strip, see how it's going to work out. But before we do that, we're going to pull the motor out, transmission, once I get my drive shaft length measured up. And yeah, that's where we're at on this project. I think I'm gonna just leave it the way it is, kind of get everything measured up and tacked up, and we'll move on to the next step. Get a little view from the front here, kind of see how it's gonna look. And this is all a little bit of imagination. We got to imagine the front clip is on. I'm actually regretting taking the front clip off already. I should have done the back end first and then done the front, but I just got a little ahead of myself. And that's how we do on projects sometimes. Get a little ahead of ourselves and then wish we wouldn't have got so far ahead. But I'm just going to pull this bed back off, get him back into the shop, and kind of go from there. Get this rear end kind of evened out. And I got to figure out that yoke issue. I've got another 14 bolt. It's an older style 14 bolt with a smaller yoke. I got to find out if I've got drive shafts with ends on them that fit that yoke. I've got some stuff to sort out there, but I wanted to make sure I'll get this rear end kind of where I wanted it before I even worried about the drive shaft. So we got Squeaky back in the shop now, but I do like the way it's turning out. It's actually, for once, a project is coming together kind of like I've had planned. So that's pretty cool. We're going to end it off there. Not sure what the next video is going to be. I'm waiting on some parts to do some carburetor work to old buddy. So, and I've got some stuff I've got waiting for Cream Puff. Not really sure what the next video is going to be. Who Who knows? So until next time, y'all keep your square bodies rolling, and we will catch you later.